This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 730, and happy anniversary. This is our anniversary episode because it is our 14-year anniversary of doing this podcast for YOU. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure that you're subscribed over at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, and all over that. What do you say? It's called iHeartRadio. Make sure you check out markinout.com and give us a like over on Facebook. Give us a follow over on Markin Out and Markin Out Instagram at MarkinOut11. TikTok, if that's still around, Markin Out. And on Twitter at Markin Out. And you can check out ProWrestlingTS.com/markinout. Go buy a t-shirt because, let's face it, you want to buy a t-shirt. And also you can follow me, Dave the Rave, on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Chris at Chris Sweendog on Twitter and CMSweeney85 on Instagram. And follow Brandon at BTTG161 on all social media platforms. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. That is a fact. Rooney, how was your week?
It was fine. I didn't really do much. I went to an eye doctor this week, and I swear to God, man, the whole waiting room was empty. And two people sat right next to me. The whole waiting room was empty. Is there no waiting room etiquette?
That's like using the urinal right next to you when there's the entire street.
I couldn't believe it. And then it's like, then I look awkward if I get up and leave and switch seats.
No, that's at that moment you have the right.
I should have done that. Go ahead and
move your place.
I should have done that. I really should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is our 14-year anniversary. Thank you to Chris for starting this podcast. We obviously wouldn't be anywhere without Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We do appreciate you. Unfortunately, Chris has a very busy schedule and he can't join us as often as we hope that he would and that he wants to. But he is always on every single podcast because of all that it's his creation,
the spirit of Chris.
Yeah, he is a part of every single podcast, even though his voice may not be here. His presence is definitely felt, and we do appreciate him for the idea and getting us kickstarted with Markin Out. I mean, it started as a project for him with the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and ever since then, it kind of took off into just a great way for us to discuss pro wrestling, which is something that all of us love and are passionate about. So, yeah, definitely thanks, Chris, for getting us kickstarted and
we get to explain why things work and why things don't work on pro wrestling television.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, some would call us the mechanics of pro wrestling.
Would they?
Probably not.
Of podcasting, perhaps. But how was your week?
My week was good. My week was very good. I mean, this entire week I've been looking forward to Saturday because we got the Royal Rumble. So I've been looking forward to that the entire week.
Didn't you have like 2 loaves of cake or something in preparation?
Yes, I did. One is for the women's Royal Rumble and one's for the men's Royal Rumble.
Oh, is that true?
Yes. One is with frosting around the rim of it, around the outside, for as if it was ring ropes, with the women's championship in the middle of that one, and then for the men's, I have the same thing, but for the Universal Championship in the middle.
It's so creative. The Universal Championship doesn't even get used.
Yeah, So yeah, but we got the cakes going, and how about you? Any cake by your side?
I have donuts. I am pumped to have donuts. I will say that.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, but
Nice.
we did. Speaking of Saturday, we had Saturday night's main event taking place in San Antonio, Texas, which is a place I really wish I went to when I was out in Austin, Texas. It looks really nice over there.
It's a 2-hour drive from there.
I don't know if it's that far away.
Yeah.
Is it that
It's like-
far away?
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half.
But I mean, it's still. I feel like it's close enough that I should have gone to see the Alamo. Oh,
Yeah,
look,
it's
that
one of
is a
those places
2-hour
where like no
drive.
matter what you do, you like walk right into the Alamo.
Yeah, I wish I went. I wish I got to see that.
Yeah, you should have.
Well, hindsight, 2020.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020.
But like I
they
said,
say.
we had Saturday night's main event. You had Ted DiBiase in full $1 Million Man gear. The full suit, I should say. That was awesome. You had
He was suited up.
Alundra Blaze was there with the WWF Women's Championship that she tossed into the trash live on Monday Night Nitro. Mark Henry was there. Gabriel Iglesias really making the rounds. He was there. Dory Funk Jr. got a new T-shirt on WWE Shop from being at Saturday night's main event. He was there. It was really cool to see Dory Funk. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was there, and the Brainbusters were there as well, so it was cool to see Arn and Tully. They also made sure to name the spot where Jesse Ventura and Joe Tessitore would be standing, the Okerlund position. So I wanted to mention that. I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
That seems very fitting.
Yeah, and it's a cool spot, and everybody knows it for the interviews that Mean Gene conducted.
Mm-hmm.
But the first match of the night, we saw Rhea Ripley pick up the victory over Nia Jax to retain the championship. Nia Jax got this started during the introductions, but Rhea Ripley quickly took over. I have to say also that MSG-style microphone that they're using with like a neon look to it, I popped for that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that looks sick.
Speaking of sick, Rhea Ripley doing that code red. I feel like that was quite unexpected. And as I feel like they could have done a longer match here, but they packed a lot into it. So I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a expected outcome with everything that took place, but it was still fun. I thought it was still good.
Yeah. Like it was, I think it might have been maybe the second shortest match. But again, there was only 4 matches, so it's like, and you have 2 hours of TV time, I 100% get it.
Mm-hmm.
You had Braun Breaker pick up the victory over Sheamus to retain the championship. Jesse Ventura did commentary on this and started, I guess, trashing the Steiner brothers, calling them dumb, I guess. So I thought that was interesting to have that. This was a hard-hitting match.
Yeah, he hit a chord because Scott Steiner responded to him.
I saw that as well, yeah. Scott Steiner's back on Twitter.
Oh, he left?
I believe he's been like off Twitter for years.
You see, all you needed was the body to get him back.
No,
going.
he came back before that, but very, very recently. But every clip from this match was like a hard-hitting spot. Like that spear to Sheamus. Sheamus was jumping off of the ring steps, and boom, mid-air spear. That looked like it absolutely hurt.
Yeah, that looked nasty.
I liked when Sheamus went to do that Celtic cross. He like took Braun Breaker over the ropes to do it. I thought that was pretty cool. And then we saw Braun Breaker go for a spear at one point. Sheamus rocked him with a bro kick. Braun Breaker got his foot on the rope. And when Sheamus went for another bro kick, because of his that hard hittingness throughout the match, his ribs were injured, and he couldn't get like the full force to run. And Braun Breaker hit him with another spear and picked up that victory. At this point, though, I don't know how many more times they could have Sheamus not win the Intercontinental Championship.
I don't even know. It has to happen soon.
I really hope that he does get the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've seen it so many so many times recently. So,
I mean, it got to the point where I started to believe as we were going into this match that Sheamus was going to win.
yeah, there were bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens contract signing for the Royal Rumble with Shawn Michaels as the moderator. Kevin Owens showing up to this wearing a Cody Sucks Eggs shirt while Dory Funk Jr. is sitting there in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty cool thing to have that. Obviously, a Dusty Sucks Eggs shirt was worn by Terry Funk. But Cody Rhodes signed the contract. Kevin Owens brought up how Cody said that he takes the easy way out of things, and that's just simply not true. It's a lie. And he could have very much so easily taken the easy way out of the Bash in Berlin match when Cody's leg was gone. But he didn't do that because he was a friend of Cody Rhodes. And he brought up how Cody Rhodes eventually ended up leaving. Kevin Owens stayed. Cody yelled at him and said that he needs to be done with this. He needs to focus on WrestleMania. And Kevin put himself over as the champion. And he said when he wins, everything Cody got when he returned at WrestleMania is going to be his because he deserves all of that. And Shawn Michaels, I guess maybe shouldn't have said anything, told Kevin Owens he sounds jealous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why he had to do that.
And then Kevin Owens brought up how Shawn Michaels quit previously as well, and how he's brought more prestige to the championship than Shawn Michaels has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hung both the titles above the ring. Kevin Owens took a cheap shot at Cody, and then he went to hit Shawn Michaels with that package pile driver. Cody kicked him. Shawn Michaels hits him with the sweet chin music. Is that setting up Kevin Owens versus Shawn Michaels at some point?
No.
Is it, though?
No.
Is it, though?
No, it is not.
Is it, though?
No, it is not.
I don't know.
125, 10%. It is not. It is not setting up that.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
No.
After that, Braun Strowman picked up the victory over Jacob Fatu via disqualification. Not what the outcome I thought was going to be. I thought we would see, obviously, Jacob Fatu, I guess, cleanly beat Braun Strowman. But we saw Braun send Jacob Fatu over the commentary table with that train move that he does. And he went for it again. Jacob Fatu hits a Samoan drop onto the table. And then Jacob Fatu did a bunch of running hip attacks to Braun Strowman in the corner.
Oh, totally just dominant.
He tossed the referee out of the ring. He continued hitting those hip attacks. He took out security. And it was finally broken up after so much more destruction. The fans were so behind Jacob Fatu here. And then he got...
Just totally. I mean, they were chanting one more time.
Yeah, he got back into the ring, hit another best moonsault ever. Braun Strowman was covered in blood. That was a crazy sight to see there.
I agree. It is really definitely a sight to see, especially because Braun Strowman is such a beast, a monster among men, and for him to put over Jacob Fatu in such a manner, I think that they are setting up Jacob to be this indestructible person right now.
I feel like we're going to see some sort of major spots with him at the Royal Rumble as far as eliminations go.
You know, do you think that he could be a final four?
I would find it very hard to believe that the final four doesn't include like Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena.
Yeah.
Maybe Drew McIntyre also.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I agree with you.
But
No, I agree with you.
And then the main event of Saturday night's main event saw Gunther pick up the victory over Jey Uso to retain the championship. Again, this was a very physical match. Gunther hit a powerbomb that Jey Uso kicked out of, and they kept going for a while, where that looked like it could have been the end of the match. Gunther at one point went for another powerbomb. Jey Uso reversed it with a Hurricane Rana. He hits him with a spear. He hits a super kick, another spear, and then he hits an Uso splash, but Gunther kicked out of that. Jay sets up for another spear. Gunther reversed it into a power bomb, hit another power bomb, picks up the win.
What's your take about Uso losing another match like this?
I mean, he looked great losing.
He looked great losing, but how much longer?
WWE accidentally announced it, and then I guess kind of officially announced it. They're going back to Paris. Clash in Paris, August.
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso was super over in Paris.
True.
If he wins the championship there, I think that would be incredible.
Huh.
And we're months away from that, so we'll see what happens.
He's had so many chances.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, anything can happen from January to, I mean, by the time this airs, February to August.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with that. Moving over to Monday Night Raw, it opened with Seth Rollins, and he basically said he's tossing everybody out of the Royal Rumble. He spoke about Gunther and Cody. Gunther interrupted him, and he questioned where Seth has been while he's been there being champion. And Seth, he said, was just there complaining. Seth Rollins said that he made that championship that Gunther has. It wasn't Gunther who made that title, it was him. And then eventually Logan Paul interrupted, put himself over, declared for the Royal Rumble, spoke about, I guess, his smarts, saying he doesn't need to. Everybody always says it, and I hate it. Everybody always says, I'm going to go to the Royal Rumble, eliminate 29 other people. You are not going to eliminate 29 other people. And finally, Logan Paul says, I don't need to eliminate 29 people. I just need to eliminate one person.
There you go. That's it.
It's perfect.
That's all you need.
The end.
You be the last person in and the last person out.
Well, I mean, nobody said he's going to be number 30 in the Rumble.
No.
He could be number 1 and still only have to eliminate one person.
True. Very true.
First match of the night saw War Raiders pick up the victory over the Judgment Day to retain the tag team championships. This was the team of JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio. A-Town Down Under and the Creeds were ringside for this, as well as like everybody else. Noah Centineo, Lil Yachty, 2 Chainz, Quavo. But the Judgment Day controlled a good chunk of this match. And they did a good job at holding the ring in the beginning of this. But that spot, I feel like the most viral spot from Monday Night Raw, JD McDonough hits a springboard moonsault, but he hits his head on the commentary table. And it turns out that he broke ribs and punctured his lung, and still he went on to kill it.
I mean, right away, once that spot happened, I told you right away, I'm concerned. Like, I legit said, like, I was concerned, and I was like, somebody needs to check on him. And I mentioned that that could be a concussion aspect because of the severity of the whiplash that took place.
Did you see that one tweet that was like, oh, how dare WWE not stop the match because he punctured his lung?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, let's go x-ray JD McDonough in the middle of the match to see if he has a lung punctured.
Yeah.
But it led to Michael Cole praising JD McDonough. Once everybody found out that he was unfortunately injured, he's going to be out now, a lot of praise came for JD McDonough.
Yeah, I mean, once that happened, I told you, I was like, he's not even standing up for the majority of the match. Like, a lot of the match after that, he was laying down or he was sitting down, but he wasn't standing. You know, it was very rare that he was standing. So once he got to at the very end of the match, he did his moonsault off of the turnbuckle, and I was like, oh, I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, I guess let's see what happens. But I would have never thought punctured lung would have even happened.
Or broken
like that
ribs.
Did not even. Yeah, with the broken ribs, I did not even think of anything like that. I was just thinking purely concussion aspect.
Right.
But you know,
and
I still hope that they did review him for concussion as well.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But before that, Carlito got involved and spit his apple at Ivar. Dominic hit that 619. After JD McDonough hit that moonsault, Dominic hit the frog splash, and they did that spot that I hate, where the two members that are not legal competitors in the match break up the pin by brawling onto the pin. I hate that spot, but the War Raiders were able to hit their finisher on Dominic, and they picked up the win there.
Yeah.
After that, we saw Rey Mysterio pick up the victory over Xavier Woods in Xavier Woods' hometown. And he was happy to have it. He was happy to be there. The fans were not having it, though. They were there booing him. Lil Baby was there. Killer Mike was ringside. Xavier Woods expected for his family to also be there ringside. But they were not at the start of the match. Michael Cole also announced that Zelina Vega has been moved, the trade window, I guess, to SmackDown. So that's unfortunate. She's no longer part of the LWO, although I feel like once you're part of the LWO and you're on good terms with them, should they not still be in the LWO?
I mean, we could get the reuniting of her with Andrade, though.
Or we could see Aleister Black coming to SmackDown and she's with him.
We could, but I mean, Aleister Black has to train Dominic Mysterio.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing. We don't know if that's it was mentioned on one of those in-between commercial breaks, I believe. It wasn't on TV. But Xavier Woods controlled a lot of this match, and when his family finally showed up, they and Lil Yachty reveal New Day Sucks t-shirts, and I thought that was really funny. And Rey Mysterio was able to take advantage of that distraction to get that victory. And it was funny to see how disappointed they were with Woods. So much so that they would wear a New Day Sucks t-shirt.
Yeah. What do you think about Xavier Woods losing on this? I feel like the New Day I really want to see them at least win next week.
You sound like you're eating Big League Chew.
Yeah, I put an apricot in my mouth.
I think
dried apricot.
That sounds disgusting, but I don't think that New Day should be winning anything. And if they're in the Royal Rumble, I would even say maybe they need to be eliminated, boom.
So then until when, though? When would you give them a victory then?
I don't know. Until something big is ready to happen. What that big thing is, we don't know.
No.
I don't know. After that, yeah, Jey Uso and Quavo make the longest entrance ever in WWE history, maybe. Fans going insane for it. But Jey Uso spoke about losing at Saturday night's main event, and he said that he wants to win the Royal Rumble and then main event WrestleMania. For me, this segment was not needed at all. But then on the other hand, like I said, the fans were just eating it up. So I 100% understand this segment, but this was just a waste of time to me.
I agree. It was a waste of time for me as well.
You had Lyra Valkyria declare for the Royal Rumble, and then she got interrupted by American Made. Chad Gable said that Ivy Nile's going to be taking that title from her. And then American Made went and ran into Alpha Academy, and Chad Gable yelled at them. They were filming a TikTok, which you could go and see on Maxine's TikTok page. because TikTok still exists. We can go live. If you check out my streams, maybe you'll hear me pronouncing the word Reese's correctly.
Yeah, you never know when he's going to take it live either.
But so that was a backstage segment just for Lyra to declare and have Chad Gable on TV with all of them. You had the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez pick up the victory over Bianca Belair and Naomi. This was a bit chaotic at times, but I liked the amount of tags that we got for both teams. We don't always get that in tag team wrestling, and I appreciate when we get constant tags. But Bianca Belair at one point intercepted the Oblivion. She hit the KOD, and then Dominic ran down. He distracted the referee, and she tagged Naomi in. Then Bianca Belair took Dominic out. Raquel hit a Tejana bomb on Naomi on the apron. And Liv Morgan was able to get a victory off of that.
I don't know what to say about this with Naomi and Bianca Belair losing on this one, especially with NXT upcoming, and it's only a matter of time till Jade comes in there and swoops them.
And that's what I don't know, because it seems like they're setting up, or at least could be, like my pick for the Royal Rumble, I'm going to say it's Liv Morgan, but
really,
it kind of seems like they're setting it up for them to win the tag team titles. And I'm going to be screwed picking Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Next up, you had Penta, a hype video of him declaring himself being a part of the Royal Rumble,
which is still so surreal.
Yeah, we're gonna get to see Penta in his very first Royal Rumble.
I don't even I don't know what to expect with that.
I mean, it's gonna be incredible.
They also had a segment. A lot of people were pissed off that it took place during a commercial break. They had Kai Cenat make a huge entrance and announce that he'll be at the Royal Rumble, like I Show Speed, which these are two people I really don't know. We've seen I Show Speed before. Kai Cenat is, I guess, one of the biggest Twitch streamers out there.
Yeah, I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago, he had John Cena on there too.
I've seen his clips of like John Cena and stuff, but outside of that, I don't watch them or anything. And maybe it is a mistake to not have somebody that is as big as him be on the actual program.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're going to be doing at the Royal Rumble, my fingers are so crossed. Like if they turn into Bad Bunny, that's perfectly fine. But my fingers are really crossed that they are not entrants in the Royal Rumble. Last year, we had a completely wasted spot with Pat McAfee where he decided I don't even know if that
was really a wasted spot.
We don't know if he was supposed to, if he knew he was supposed to be in it or whatnot, but
he did.
Probably. And he gets in there and literally just sees who's in the ring with him and eliminates himself.
That was with him and Omos, I believe, right?
I hated all of that. I forget someone else was in the ring.
It was Omos and somebody else, but I mean, the prime factor of him stepping out was, I think, Omos was him looking face to face, eye to eye. I shouldn't say eye to eye. Waist to face with Omos, and him just stepping back out of the ring.
Yeah,
I agree. I wasn't a fan of that because that was a wasted elimination.
Sometimes celebrities can be fun. Pat is a pro wrestler to me, more so than a celebrity, but I would prefer to not have them in the actual Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Unless they turn out to be something fun. So.
Yeah.
After that, we had a segment with Paul Heyman.
I'm just going to say that also, just to add on to that, it's kind of even more disappointing because, like how you mentioned with the celebrities and stuff, we know Pat McAfee could actually wrestle too.
Very well, yeah.
So I just wanted to bring up that fact too, that we've seen him, for those that don't remember, him versus Adam Cole was actually a really good showing for him.
Yeah.
but all right, continue.
Paul Heyman came out to show off the cover of WWE 2K25. It's him in the corner of Roman Reigns. This image was like circulating the internet a few weeks ago, and I thought it was going to be like a fake, but I guess I think Steam or Xbox put it up by mistake weeks ago. Which I'll put a pin in the WWE 2K25. Drew McIntyre interrupted and gave reasons why he's the reason why the Bloodline exists, and all he wants was a thank you from Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman thanked him, but said Drew McIntyre is crowding him. And he backed up and asked Paul Heyman for a favor, and just said that he's going to target Paul's boy and eliminate him. And Paul Heyman, in that instance, me too, I also thought this. We all thought, I assume everybody thought, that Drew McIntyre was talking about Roman Reigns. But Paul's boy to Drew McIntyre was CM Punk. So he's threatening to eliminate CM Punk from the Royal Rumble. It could very easily be Drew McIntyre and CM Punk as the last two.
I think that this Royal Rumble is absolutely incredible, because when you think about all of the potential as to who can be in the Final Four, like you just said, Drew McIntyre could easily be there. Sami Zayn you could put in there. Jey Uso. There's so many people. Obviously, Punk, Rollins, etc., etc.
I would like to see John Cena get eliminated.
Yes, John Cena.
But I want to see him somewhat early on to get like that part out of the way and set up what we're going to be seeing. Unless that doesn't automatically hot shot to WrestleMania, we do have Elimination Chamber. I believe we know that he'll be in the Elimination Chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see Cena like out of it kind of early on to get all that out of the way, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, this segment leads right into Drew McIntyre picking up the victory over Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn got busted open during this big time, his nose. I don't know if it was broken or not. I forget what Sami Zayn said. But this was another match that I couldn't get into.
I got into it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a good match. Why didn't you get into it?
I don't know. I couldn't get into it. Mm-hmm. McIntyre cheated to win. He had his feet on the ropes. And after that, Sami Zayn yelled at the referee. Drew McIntyre attacked Sami Zayn. Cody Rhodes ran down to make the save, and then Kevin Owens showed up to brawl with Cody. McIntyre got involved again. Sami Zayn accidentally hit Cody Rhodes with a haluva kick. Prior to all of this, Karrion Kross spoke to Sami Zayn. Seth Rollins spoke to him about the accidental haluva kick as well. Kevin Owens seemed pretty happy with Sami Zayn hitting that haluva kick on Cody Rhodes.
You saw the tap that Kevin Owens gave to Sami Zayn at the end. He like that little approval.
And then I legitimately thought this was like a very off ending to me. I thought this was the end of Raw. They cut to commercial after that, and then I'm like, is that it? Because we don't know when Raw ends at this time.
Yeah.
And then it came back from commercial break. It's Cody Rhodes. And he spoke about CM Punk. Or he just spoke. CM Punk interrupted. And spoke about the grind and how he knows a lot about being champion for a long time. Punk has that over 400-day reign. And Cody asked CM Punk if they're friends. And Punk was like, yes. And he said he asked CM Punk to tell him the future, what's next for him, basically. And Punk went through literally everything in store for Cody as champion. And then he said that he's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to see Cody Rhodes in the main event at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes ran down their history together all the way back to OVW and how he was always chasing CM Punk, and then CM Punk sat home for 10 years. Fans are chanting his name. He's still there chasing CM Punk. But now it's CM Punk chasing Cody Rhodes. I thought that was a good talking segment between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was very mid to me. There were not enough matches for me to be like, oh, this was a great episode of Monday Night Raw. There were 4 matches.
Yeah, I could understand what you're... At first, when you told me that, I didn't really see it just because of... It did seem like there was action-packed, like there was a lot to take home from it. But in reality, it was lacking on the wrestling side. It was very heavy on the promo side more than anything.
Yeah, it wasn't like the typical, what I would call a Royal Rumble go-home show.
Mm-hmm.
But... We mentioned it before. I mentioned it before, the Paul Heyman thing with WWE 2K25. In regards to that, I thought I would be marking out over it. But then they showed off the Dead Man edition, which to me made no sense. We've already had special Undertaker stuff recently. I thought maybe that would be the deluxe edition. And then they showed off, during Monday Night Raw, they showed off the Bloodline edition. Last year we had the 40 Years of WrestleMania edition. This, which the cover is fantastic for both. I guess technically you could say for all 3. But the Dead Man edition, Bloodline editions, digital only. Which they're not, that means they're not deluxe editions.
So what's the difference?
As in...
Like the deluxe?
Well, deluxe used to be a physical copy as well. We used to get the normal version. The deluxe would come with the season pass.
Uh-huh.
And like boosters and stuff for the My Career and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you would have a collector's edition that would have like physical stuff with it, autographs, ring mats, figurines, cards, etc. They took that away from us, and they went to just a digital collector's edition, basically. You had the NWO edition, which had Eric Bischoff and, I guess, Hogan, Hall, Nash, and Six in their NWO gear. It had the sold-out arena, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
You had the John Cena collector's edition, Legacy edition, I think it was called. That had the OVW pack in it. You had the...
It sounds like by the time you get done with all this, you're spending over $200, no?
I don't know, with tax around that, it's like $130, I believe.
Jeez.
And the collector's edition used to be $130, and you would get all of the stuff that you're getting plus physical things.
Yeah.
Last year was the 40 Years of WrestleMania. You had a King of Kings Triple H. You had a Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alter Tires, somebody else, I forget who. Oh, Macho King was there. This year, with first of all, the pre-order bonus is the Wyatt 6. I feel like they should have just been included in the game already.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy was DLC 2 games ago. He was in the game last year, and then a Bo Dallas version outside of everything else DLC that you had to pay for. And now he's back to being DLC again. And people are like celebrating this stuff. I don't understand that. The Undertaker Dead Man edition, if you get it, Brother Love is included as a manager. I forget what other Undertaker. I think I don't even know if they announced another Undertaker. I thought for sure that there'd be like a Mean Mark at least.
Mm-hmm.
With the Bloodline edition, you get a Nation of Domination version of The Rock that will not be sold anywhere else but this version of the game. You have 2 figure versions of, I think, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. the island that we spoke about last week, it's only for next gen. So I feel like you lose out on a lot of the stuff if you don't have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, whatever it's called.
But we also don't know much about this island, though, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably most likely like the city that people mark out over for the NBA game. And,
I'm not familiar with it.
And for you to be charging the same exact price for PlayStation 4 and Xbox, whatever it's called, versus PlayStation 5 and Xbox, whatever it's called, when you're missing the whole island and all the cosmetic stuff that you get with it, how does that make sense? And people are celebrating it. People are celebrating all of this. The showcase is going to be the whole Bloodline, which I'm not sure what it will entail. We know Yokozuna was showed off with Mr. Fuji, so that is going to be in it. They showed off a new version of Umaga with what looks like it could be and probably is Armando Alejandro Estrada with him. So that would be his return to the game. But we don't know who else is part of... They have like, I think it was like a 2017 Usos tag against New Day. Probably Roman and Cody. I think there was a John Cena match in there, but we don't know if Peter Maivia is in there. Head Shrinkers. We don't know if Paulie Dangerously, Wild Samoans, Captain Lou Albano, Soul Patrol. That's what I'm hoping for. Rosie. I would assume probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't see Rosie in there.
Well, it's not... I don't think that's completely out of the question, especially since he just had those figures. The figure from Mattel.
I don't know.
But I just feel like all of this was disheartening to see, and it feels like I know I'm not the only one that's not feeling happy about it, because I've seen tons of people be like, this sucks. So I don't know. I've never not gotten the game.
Mm-hmm.
All the way back from SmackDown, I've never not owned the game. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but it seems very, very uneven and unfortunate. But moving on from WWE 2K25 to NXT, that took place at Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, where WCW ran events, ECW ran some events there, NXT has ran live events there, TNA, Ring of Honor. The venue, I think, looks great for pro wrestling.
It really does. It looks nice.
And it opened up with Julia and Bayley picking up the victory over Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. It's been around 5 years since Bayley's last NXT match, so it was cool to see Bayley there. And she got a lot of ring time with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, so I like that you get the veteran, I guess at this point, working with the next generation.
Yeah, getting to chance to put them over as well.
I liked Roxanne Perez doing the corner move, or trying to at least, where Bayley used to pull her ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to, and Bayley reversed that. Cora Jade accidentally took Roxanne Perez out. Roxanne still was able to break up a pin, but maybe that plants seeds there. Bayley hits the flying elbow on Cora Jade to pick up the victory. Do you think that was the right person to win the match?
I think so.
I thought Julia would have been the person getting that victory there.
I mean, I think that the thing is that Bayley picking up the victory doesn't really put down Perez or Jade, while Julia, with her being current within the roster, that could be something. So I'm okay with Bayley picking up that.
Either way, I guess with Bayley getting that victory, Ava makes a triple threat match where it's Bayley versus Julia versus Roxanne Perez. Cora Jade was pissed off at that. Why is it because Cora Jade got the pin? Lost in that match?
Yeah, she was not happy.
Should she have been a fatal 4-way? Should she have been in that match?
I mean, she could easily see her way into this competition right now.
After that, we had the Grayson Waller effect with Obafemi as the guest. They put Obafemi over, and Austin Theory said everyone sees him as a main eventer except for them, which is funny. Mm-hmm. And Obafemi claps back. He's like, well, I've never seen either of you be champions in NXT, and that's because you never were champions in NXT. And then Oba challenged them to a match at Vengeance Day. Ava came out. Trick Williams came out. And he got in Obafemi's face. And he ended up taking out A-Town Down Under. And Obafemi took Trick Williams out. So, I thought that was going to be... I don't know what I thought that segment was going to be.
I thought that this was a fine segment. I think that the heels were the heels, and Obafemi is still just a monster. And it doesn't, nothing has tarnished him or anything like that. I thought it was fine.
And then we went into, Trick Williams was supposed to have a match with Wes Lee. And he goes into this match injured. Wes Lee picks up the win over him via disqualification, though. Definitely not what I expected. But Wes Lee went into this. This was expected. Takes complete, full advantage of Obafemi's attack on Wes Lee prior to the match. I mean, on Trick Williams prior to the match. The ringside area was super small due to the arena they were in. So I liked that Wes Lee was able to hit that Meteora from the apron to the commentary table. But throughout the match, we saw Tyreek and Tyson DuPont get involved. Trick takes them out, and I thought we were going to see some backup there. I really thought we were going to see the Rascals make the save for Trick Williams and even out that odds, I guess.
I don't know. I still feel like the Rascals right now, I would keep them to the side for a little bit. And then what? And then it goes off into Wes Lee versus one of the Rascals?
No, it would have went in NXT. It would have set up a 6-man tag for next week's episode of NXT.
Okay. All right. Not bad.
But then Trick Williams shoved the referee down and got disqualified. So this version of Trick Williams is a bit different than what we're used to. And after that took place, Ava told Obafemi to stop trying to make matches because she's the one in charge. And then set up another triple threat at Vengeance Day. It's A-Town Down Under versus, it's Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller versus Obafemi. And then she yelled at Trick Williams and told him about the match. And then she told him to prove that he deserves to be in that match. And to partner with Obafemi next week against A-Town Down Under. So maybe that's why Cora Jade wasn't put in it, because this match probably will be a fatal 4-way. Unless that match also turns into a fatal 4-way and we have 2 fatal 4-ways at Vengeance Day.
You know what? I am not opposed to it. I feel like with everything that's taking place with the storylines, with the amount of competitors that are potential champions, I feel like that would be totally okay by me to have 2 fatal 4-ways. Why not?
It's not like we haven't seen stuff like that before.
Yeah.
After that, we saw Fallon Henley pick up the victory over Shotzi Blackheart to retain the North American Championship. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley brawled with JC Jane and Jasmine Nix to the back. That took them out as factors. Fallon and Shotzi Blackheart, I think, put on one hell of a match here. That senton from Shotzi looked absolutely brutal.
I mean, Fallon Henley's a star.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Fallon Henley, and she got that win. And afterwards, there was big confusion about where Stephanie Vicor fits in, since she was number 1 contender, and then she lost to Shotzi, and then Shotzi became number 1 contender. Stephanie Vicor was always number 1 contender. Even though Shotzi got this title match, Stephanie McCoy was guaranteed getting that title match.
Yeah.
And she came out to stare Fallon Henley down afterwards, and that match gets set up for Vengeance Day as well.
Mm-hmm.
You had Ethan Page pick up the victory over Cedric Alexander. Killer Mike making the rounds. He was there. He was ringside for this. So it's cool to see big name celebrities on these NXT shows.
Yeah, it's nice to see them show up and everything.
This was not as one-sided as I expected the match to be, though.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, Cedric had that bad wrist, and Ethan Page went for that bad wrist. He, ripped the cover off and everything. He smashed the hand into the ring post. Cedric still went for a very long time in this match. All of this match surprised me. Last week, I went into this thinking it was going to be a very quick victory over Cedric.
Yeah, with Ethan Page coming out as the winner.
But the match that they put on, very enjoyable. Ethan Page went to continue the attack after the match, and Javon Evans made the save. So I don't know if that got set up for Vengeance Day as well, but I'm not surprised if it did.
I don't know, because Javon, I don't even know if he's cleared to.
Yeah, we don't know.
Return
I don't know if it got set up or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it is, because I don't think he's officially cleared to return to the ring from his injuries with the jaw and everything.
Right.
But once he hits the ring, when he goes flying over that top rope, it's like you automatically you're glued to the TV or the computer because you want to see what he's about to do next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main event saw Bianca Belair and Naomi pick up the victory over Metaphor to retain those tag team championships. This was, I'm almost certain, Naomi's first NXT match in 12 years. She was part of the original seasons of NXT, going back even further than 12 years. But this was a great match. It was very athletic. That handspring moonsault from Lash Legend to Bianca Belair I thought was great. And Metaphor definitely came close a few times to winning. So it's not like they lose by losing, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. I don't think anybody expected Naomi and Belair to lose, though.
A lot of people expected Bianca Belair and Naomi to lose the titles there.
No, really?
A lot of people.
Wow.
There was, I think, one of the most replayed spots from this match was the pin spot with Jakara on Naomi, where it definitely looked like a 3 count.
Uh-huh.
But then you go back and rewatch, which I feel like people aren't actually rewatching it or don't realize Naomi's shoulders are up. So even though it looks like a 3 count, her shoulders are up and the referee calls it. So I feel like people need to just zoom in and see her shoulders being up. But the champions ended up hitting a double KOD to pick up that victory. And I think they shook hands after the match, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But NXT was not over. I didn't know what was going on. A test card came up, and I thought it was just like a goof or an accident. And it said WWE transmission, and then it was deleted, and Vengeance Day was typed into it. It sounded like the typing from Matt Hardy version 1's theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is leading to a TNA invasion and a Worlds Collide will happen or something like that.
Ethan Page hitting that twisted face.
That's been happening.
You know?
That's an AEW thing.
Yeah, but still.
So I don't know if it's going to be just one person. Obviously, I almost said Solomon Crow. Sami Callihan has been known to do stuff like this. Maybe it is a TNA invasion.
That would be definitely something special to do right now.
Yeah. And who knows?
Who
knows if we see any sort of TNA involvement in the Royal Rumble? I still think money's on Joe Hendry as the TNA champion being in the Royal Rumble.
I think there's a lot of chance for many to be in this Rumble, you know? I think for sure.
I can't even guess, but it's WrestleMania season. We found out this week that Triple H will be the first inductee. He's headlining this year's class of the Hall of Fame. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker surprised him at, I think they called it a town hall meeting or something like that.
Yeah, you had Shawn Michaels' theme song hit, and then Undertaker.
Triple H turns like, "What? Why is this happening?" I thought that was
they
funny.
broke the news to him that he's in already.
And then it's funny that the clips aired of them all talking about it and how they couldn't tell Stephanie because Stephanie would definitely like somehow break and tell Triple H. So she was also surprised by it. But I have to assume that, I mean, you have Undertaker and Shawn Michaels make the announcement. Should it be both of them inducting Triple H, or is it probably just Shawn Michaels?
I would say probably just Shawn. I mean, realistically, I could see him just being Stephanie.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Stephanie could speak beforehand or something like that, but I really feel like if they're both going to be part of that, how could they not both be the ones inducting Triple H?
Yeah, I would just do one, and I would do Stephanie.
Yeah, so who else is getting inducted to the Hall of Fame this year? We don't know. Triple H.
I would do Shawn Michaels, and I would have Stephanie in the crowd with their children. I think that would be more of an impactful, like, because then you can pan the camera to the children with Stephanie and stuff, laughing, crying, and stuff like that.
A lot of people on the internet, the IWC, are like, of course Triple H is getting inducted again.
Well, I mean, you have Shawn Michaels inducted.
Yeah, he 100% has a very well-deserved Hall of Fame career. It's not like...
Yeah, why would it...
It's because it's Triple H.
I mean,
it's
just
because he's in charge of the WWE right now.
Yeah, just because Vince McMahon cued everybody to not bring up his name and he didn't want to be inducted and stuff like that, now everybody thinks anybody in charge is allowed to
by the way,
inducted.
Triple H, I'm sure if you asked him, would have said no.
He did say no. Yeah, I mean, he did say right after how he said that, he said he's going to have
kill
to...
Nick.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm sure that if they asked Triple H if he wanted to be inducted, he may have said no, not yet.
Right.
You know, yeah, he said he's going to go kill Nick right now. So, did you know that I for some reason I never saw this clip, but I didn't realize that he teamed with William Regal.
Nick?
No, yes. Triple H.
You didn't know the Lordship?
No, I didn't know that they teamed in WCW together. I thought that his Terror Rising was just like for a short time. I didn't realize he had an actual formed tag team.
Yeah, it was the Blue Bloods.
Huh.
And
very interesting.
Was Triple H... I don't remember if Triple H was still in it. There was Dave Taylor.
Uh-huh.
Robert Eaton as well. Bobby Eaton was in there.
Huh. Interesting.
And then a manager.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I knew of the Blue Bloods.
Yeah, didn't know.
But yeah, so I think it's very, very well deserved for Triple H. Going to move over to SmackDown. It opened up with Pat McAfee putting over Indianapolis. And then it opens up with Kevin Owens being interviewed by Joe Tessitore. Kevin wasn't really feeling this interview. Took the Winged Eagle championship off the thing and went to leave. CM Punk came out and apologized to Kevin Owens for A, interrupting him, and B, making it seem like he overlooked Kevin Owens beating Cody Rhodes. But he said when he wins the Royal Rumble, and if Kevin Owens retains that championship, or I guess wins the match of the Rumble, the main event of WrestleMania could very well be the both of them. And then Kevin Owens bragged about being the multi-time main event, WrestleMania main eventer. And CM Punk has had none. And he said that he hopes CM Punk doesn't win the Royal Rumble. and continues to have none. CM Punk clapped back about Kevin Owens losing 5 title matches at Royal Rumble, losing to Logan Paul, and manipulating his best friend all to have personal gain there. And then he challenged Kevin Owens to get back in the ring to fight, and Kevin Owens teased getting back in, but he left. You had Jimmy Uso pick up the victory over Carmelo Hayes. They had some good back and forth here. Tyrese Halliburton was ringside, and Carmelo Hayes cut a promo before this match, putting him down. And Carmelo Hayes allowed himself to be distracted at one point by Halliburton, and Jimmy took over. They still continue to have a pretty even match after that. But at the end of the match, Carmelo Hayes tried to use the ropes. The referee saw it, broke the pin. Jimmy rolled him up and used his tights to get the victory there. Carmelo Hayes' leg did touch the rope, but I guess the referee didn't see it. Mia Yim picked up the victory over Chelsea Green via disqualification, so Chelsea retained the United States Championship. Chelsea controlled a good chunk of this match, and they had a lot of good reversals here. After Mia Yim hit that Eat Defeat, Piper Niven pulled Chelsea Green out. B-Fab attacked Piper Niven, and then Chelsea kept trying to run away and finally grabbed the kendo stick that Mia Yim came out with and started beating on her with it. Mia Yim eventually got the kendo stick away and got a few shots on, but that was the end of that match. You had Los Garza and Motor City Machine Guns pick up the victory over DIY and Pretty Deadly. There was a segment before this match where Motor City Machine Guns were just letting Los Garza know that they have their backs in this match. And Santos Escobar didn't care about that. He was just focused on Legado getting all the wins. The dynamic in this match between Tommaso Ciampa and Pretty Deadly I thought was pretty funny, because Ciampa very clearly was not having any of it. He's made that known for a few weeks now. Motor City Machine Guns at one point tagged themselves in, so there was like that chaos factor between all the teams. I like that 3-man suicide dive from Los Garza and Chris Sabin at one point, but like I said, there was chaos. It got to be quite chaotic. Humberto ended up pushing Chris Sabin after he tagged himself in, because Angel Garza was literally not on the apron to get tagged in. Humberto needed a tag, and he was like waiting for Angel to get up on the apron. That led to Los Garza leaving. Ciampa then accidentally takes out Pretty Deadly, and Chris Sabin gets the victory off of that. Ciampa was furious with Pretty Deadly backstage. There was also a little tease between Tama Tonga and DIY with those championships. You had Naomi pick up the victory over Liv Morgan. I enjoyed this match. Raquel Rodriguez distracted distracted Naomi at one point, and Liv Morgan was able to take advantage of that. Eventually, Naomi reverses what I think was going to be an attempt for the Oblivion, and she hits the rear view. Raquel got involved again, and when Naomi went for that split-legged moonsault, she was distracted. Bianca Belair took Raquel out, and it looked like Liv Morgan was going to pick up the victory off of that distraction, but Naomi ends up reversing a pin, picks up the victory there. Then Raquel Rodriguez takes the champions down. Liv Morgan jumped in. The champions tried to fight back, but Liv jumped in, and it left them on top. Earlier in the night, Miz spoke to Nick Aldis about A-Town Down Under being sent to Monday Night Raw after he already became buddies with them. He mentioned trying to buddy up to Andrade, and then he got pissed off. He's like, if Andrade was standing right here in front of me, I'd punch him in the face. And it turned out that Andrade was behind Miz, and it sets up a match where Andrade picked up the victory. Another pretty even match here. I like Miz doing that jumping Hurricane Rana from the middle rope, but like I said, very, very even match. Andrade won with that spinning back elbow. I'm almost certain he hit it twice in that match. Not 100% sure, but I enjoyed this match. After that, Tiffany Stratton was interviewed by Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. McAfee hyped up the Royal Rumble and how 30 women will enter the Royal Rumble trying to take that championship from Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. And Tiffany Stratton said it doesn't matter who wins the Royal Rumble because it's always Tiffy time. And then Candice LeRae interrupted and said that she's going to make Tiffany Stratton regret stabbing her and Nia Jax in the back. And then Nia Jax came in out of nowhere and tried to take out Tiffany Stratton, missed, and took out Candice LeRae. Tiffany Stratton tried to take out Nia Jax after that, but Nia Jax put her down, hit the Annihilator to end that segment. Earlier in the night, Damian Priest spoke about his time on Monday Night Raw and how he was trying to make a name for himself back then. And now that he's on SmackDown, the goal is championships, and he's going to do that by winning the Royal Rumble, main event WrestleMania. And then Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga showed up. Jacob Fatu compared himself to Damian Priest and said that the only difference is that he was locked up. And now he's off the leash, and Damian Priest can either lay down or get beat down. It led to Damian Priest clocking Tama Tonga. And then a huge stare down happened between him and Jacob Fatu. And they went around, they went in a circle, finally brawled. The fans were going crazy for this segment. Tama Tonga got involved again. They took him down. LA Knight ran down to make the save. That big boot to the chair into Tama Tonga's face I thought was crazy. Jacob Fatu punching the steel chair while it was being swung at him from LA Knight was crazy. But it sets up a tag team match for the main event. We also had a segment backstage with R-Truth thinking that he was on Monday Night Raw, confusing Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. And then LA Knight was also in that segment. I thought it was a really funny segment with R-Truth, just to keep them together and have the remnants of Judgment Day. Even though we know what happened between R-Truth and Judgment Day, I still think it was a funny segment there. And then in the main event, we saw Damian Priest and LA Knight pick up the victory over the Bloodline. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. LA Knight and Damian Priest started this match off with a brawl. The referee called for the match to start with everybody in the ring. I thought that was super goofy, but that was at least short-lived. The match itself, I thought, was a pretty standard match, especially with Jacob Fatu being in this. I expected more bedlam, I guess. But I like that commentary table stuff with Damian Priest and Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. I was not expecting Tama Tonga to reverse the Razor's Edge, especially not with a sleeper. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I thought that was really nice. Outside the ring, LA Knight took Jacob Fatu out over the barricade. Tama Tonga, kind of in control of this match, went for like a sliding clothesline and literally slid right into a South of Heaven attempt. That, I think, would have been one of the most epic South of Heavens that we would have ever seen if that was the setup and everything. Tama Tonga got out of it. And Damian Priest eventually did hit it, like right after that, and picked up the victory. Jacob Fatu attacked Damian Priest to end the show. So, I don't think it hyped up the Royal Rumble as much as I thought it was going to. But that was SmackDown. I'm going to do predictions for the WWE Royal Rumble taking place in Indianapolis, Indiana at Lucas Oil Stadium. What do we start with?
Let's start with the Royal Rumble itself.
Really?
Why not?
DIY?
Yeah.
DIY
No, let's start with the
Motor City Machine Guns?
We'll start with one Royal Rumble and we'll end it with another Royal Rumble.
Well, I mean, both of my picks. So, our picks for the Royal Rumble, for the men's Royal Rumble across the board, I don't know if you still feel this way, but all three of us picked CM Punk to win. I'm sticking with CM Punk.
I'm going to maintain CM Punk.
And then for the women's Royal Rumble...
Well, hold on. Before we go to... I want to pick... Who do you think... Give me three
No, I don't want to do
surprise...
this. I don't want to do
Why?
that.
Why?
I just don't. I can't pick. It's like too difficult. There's Legends, there's TNA, there's NXT.
Let's go out to the women's then.
So when we were picking on the last episode, I picked Rhea Ripley. That's out. I am no longer correct with that. So I said it before, I'm going with Liv Morgan. It ties into that Rhea Ripley storyline. It could very easily be Charlotte to set up her versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, but I also really don't want Charlotte Flair to win the Royal Rumble.
I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair.
You had previously picked Asuka. She's currently out injured. We don't know if she's...
I picked Asuka for the Rumble?
Yeah. And we don't know if she's going to be back in time or what.
That sounds weird.
Chris chose Jordynne Grace, and Nick Khan confirmed that Jordynne Grace is, in fact, signed to WWE. They're looking forward to that. She, on the other hand, said that she will be at her mother's 50th birthday party. Do we believe that? I don't know.
I mean, she did send pictures, but...
Also, I don't know. I wonder what they're... Because everybody's so used to hearing her TNA theme song, I wonder if that carries over somehow or what.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going with Liv Morgan. You're picking Charlotte?
Yeah, Charlotte.
I really hope not. But it seems like it's a very plausible thing.
Yeah.
For the WWE Tag Team Championships, 2 out of 3 falls match. You have DIY defending those championships against Motor City Machine Guns. In a 2 out of 3 falls match, I'm going to say they each get 1 pin. And then I feel like Motor City Machine Guns could win that back. I feel like that's a big spot for them. Do we like the whole hot potato sort of thing? Not really.
You know what? I could go with Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, DIY, it was successful in getting them to both turn heel. I'm going to go with Motor City.
But also in the same sense, like, how long have... I don't think this would be considered hot potato, really. They won it in December, but I still feel like enough time has passed.
I don't know. I would see it as a hot potato, but...
Yeah, so I'm going to also say Motor City Machine Guns for the
Cody
WWE and WWF Championship, the Winged Eagle Championship. I mean, it's hard not to pick Cody Rhodes here.
Yeah. I'm going Cody. You know, can you see Kevin still leaving with the Winged Eagle?
I don't know.
I see Cody winning the match.
In a perfect world, it would be great to see Kevin Owens win that championship.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's time. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like Cody Rhodes is obviously going to retain that. But that's the Royal Rumble. Going to take a quick little break right now. And we'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is DMC and the place to be. And the only place for you to ever be is right here listening to Marking Out. That's all it's about.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Marking Out episode 730. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week, it kicked off with Samoa Joe picking up the victory over Nick Wayne. I think Samoa Joe should have absolutely been able to tear right through and destroy Nick Wayne in this match. That didn't happen. You had Christian and Kip Sabian try to intimidate Samoa Joe here. You had Hook and Shibata back them up. They eventually all brawled. Samoa Joe ends up going for a muscle buster. Nick Wayne got out of it with the rake of an eye. But later, after a clothesline, he was able to hit it, pick up the victory there. I still feel like Joe should have been like muscle buster the end. You had Okada pick up the victory over Commander. Speaking of matches that went too long, I honestly cannot believe that this match went as long as it did. Given that it's Okada and given that it's Commander, I do not understand how this match went as long as it did. I also would have preferred to not see anybody that was in the Continental Classic in a match together, regardless of whether or not they were on two opposite sides of the bracket. I like that spot where Commander went for a Hurricane Rana from the middle rope and Okada tried to turn it into a powerbomb, but Commander landed an X Factor to counter that. I thought that was pretty cool. And I do have to say how insane it was that Commander absolutely wrestled circles around Okada. Okada has lost all his star power. That was absolutely insane to see that. Like, Commander to me looked so much better than Okada in this. And then afterwards, Okada tried to help Commander up, ends up attacking him. Yet Undisputed Era pick up the victory over Daniel Garcia and Team 3.0. Big Boom, AJ, and Big Justice did the Boom gimmick with Adam Cole beforehand. As far as this match going on, I don't know why it took place. It's as if, really, to me, creative has nothing for either team. Commentary said all three members of Undisputed Era want the TNT Championship. Why are all three of them going after the same thing again? We just saw this with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. We literally just saw that. Instead of a title, they wanted MJF. Now it's the title. You had Shane Taylor Promotions watch this ringside. For me, Daniel Garcia is super boring. So I wouldn't have minded if one of them ends up taking the title from him. I don't think that'll happen. But like I said, it just feels like creative has nothing for them. After that, you had Mariah May and Toni Storm in a face-to-face. Mariah May ran her down, talked trash to her, called her a nothing. And she said that she used Toni to get what she wanted, alluding to that championship. Toni Storm played that like Mark fangirl and hugged her. And then Mariah May slapped her, she shoved her, and then she attacked her with the championship. And when Mariah May finally got out of the ring, Toni Storm took her clothes off and said she was playing Mariah May the whole time. It was timeless Toni Storm all along. Why would she have allowed herself to be beat up with a belt if that was the outcome of revealing herself there? I didn't understand that. A lot of people were like, why did this take place on Collision and not Dynamite? I understand that people are like, why wasn't it done on your A show? I'm completely fine with it being on Collision. I'm just confused as to why they wouldn't have done this closer to the event. And as far as this character goes, I really grew to hate Timeless Toni Storm. I dislike the new version of Toni Storm. And it just leads me to not care about this version. On Dynamite, you had Mariah May come out, cut a promo on Toni Storm. Toni Storm was nowhere in sight. You got to save that again for Collision. I feel like that's a huge miss by AEW. Now that's a huge miss. You had it taking place on Collision. Your biggest feud is Toni Storm and Mariah May, whether you want to admit it or not. Whether you want to say that it's the Death Riders or what, it's 100% Mariah May and Toni Storm. You do the angle on Collision, you follow it up with Dynamite. How could you not have Toni Storm on Dynamite? That makes no sense. You had the Hounds of Hell pick up the victory over Gates of Agony. Commentary tried to sell the Gates of Agony as some dominant team here. And I don't know anything about what they've done in Ring of Honor, but their last win over a big team was in June. And prior to that, it was January. So this match was really just a reason to introduce the House of Black, I guess, as the Hounds of Hell. And I have to say, it was kind of sad seeing a two-man Cerberus. But I'm glad that they're still using that as a finisher between Brody and Buddy. And I'm looking forward to more Hounds of Hell matches. Earlier, you had Powerhouse Hobbs waiting for Big Bill in the parking lot. Big Bill ends up throwing a brick. Completely misses. They end up brawling. Later on, fast forward, Big Bill called out Powerhouse Hobbs. They brawled again. Hobbs got busted open, and he ends up hitting a belly-to-belly off the stage to a table. That rules him out of Dynamite. I don't know if he'll be on Collision this week. I'll find out. I know he cut a promo on Dynamite, but I forgot what he said. And then you had Takeshita pick up the victory over Shibata to retain the championship. I don't think Shibata has the strongest win record. Not win record, but like wins in general. He has a decent amount of wins, I believe. But Takeshita should have been able to go right through Shibata. This match, you do the same stuff over and over again in it. Moving over to AEW Dynamite, you had Will Ospreay pick up the victory over Brian Cage. Don Callis pointed to the screen to show Kenny Omega was attacked backstage before the match started. Cage used that to his advantage to beat down Will Ospreay. I really wish this match was a hidden blade in 1, 2, 3. Nothing else. All he needed was a hidden blade, take out Brian Cage, boom. It wasn't long before they went to the outside. It wasn't long before Don Callis attacked Will Ospreay behind the referee's back. It wasn't long until they went back outside. Lance Archer eventually broke up the pin. The referee just argued with him, couldn't care less. He didn't do anything about it. He just watched Lance Archer get up on the apron. Did nothing. And then Will Ospreay reversed the powerbomb with a Hurricane Rana. But that Hurricane Rana didn't look like a Hurricane Rana. Brian Cage just stood there and then ran into Lance Archer. I didn't need any of that. And then afterwards, they attacked Will Ospreay. Omega eventually made the save, but the heels just stood there, waiting. Literally just waiting. Paused in the ring. Video game pause, waiting for Kenny Omega to hit them. Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita attacked them. They stopped and then started again. That was after a long pause. That was weird. You had Claudio pick up the victory over Jeff Jarrett. I think this was in order to see if Jeff Jarrett could go on to face Jon Moxley for the championship at Down Under. I think given the story with Jeff Jarrett, I was expecting him to pick up the victory here. But I guess not. Commentary made it clear that, or made it seem at least, that it doesn't necessarily have to be the AEW championship that Jeff Jarrett wins on his final run. Perhaps it's going to be the Ring of Honor championship. Excalibur said something like the AEW championship and then quickly corrected it to just world championship. You had Wheeler Yuta show up, referee argued with him, and instead of kicking him from ringside, he just, whatever, let him stay. He got involved later on to distract the referee. Claudio went to use a chair, but Jeff Jarrett got away from that, and then Jon Moxley came out, hit the Paradigm Shift. Claudio hit him with a finisher twice, boom. Why does Claudio have to cheat multiple times in order to get a victory over Jeff Jarrett? How does that make the Death Riders look strong? This is like the weakest group I've ever seen. It's terrible. MJF showed up afterwards and acted like he was going to say something, ends up clocking Jeff Jarrett with the mic. Later on, you had Jay White pick up the victory over Wheeler Yuta. They fought a long time outside the ring. Wheeler Yuta ends up working on Jay's knee throughout the match, and frankly, this match went way too long. Jay White luckily at least got the victory. He hit another Blade Runner after the match. Fans chanted for another Blade Runner, only to have Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir show up. Claudio attacked him from behind. It's like rinse and repeat. Same stuff over and over again. This time, Rated FTR chased them off. It sets up a tag match for Collision. I hope it's not a singles match at this point at Down Under. It seems like they could be leaning to Jay White versus Jon Moxley for that championship. It's more written like you're setting up an 8-man tag. You had Ricochet pick up the victory over AR Fox. If Swerve got involved here, his match against Ricochet would have been dropped. So I thought we would see AR Fox win by ways of like Prince Nana or something. But that did not happen. They went to the outside and that was it for me. I don't need to see more of that. Swerve showed up afterwards, used the chain again, which I found that to be interesting. Ricochet pulled AR Fox in the way and held him hostage with the scissors. If they're going to use that chain more than one time, it surely has to set up a chain match or something. I don't understand that. After the last time they used the chain, I thought it was going to be a chain match. And it's just a normal match. So maybe they're going to do the normal match and then do a chain match or something. On Collision, you had Yuka Sakazaki pick up the victory over Deonna Purrazzo, Queen Aminata, and Serena Deeb to get a TBS championship match on Dynamite. I have to wonder if this match was because of Sumi Sakai's tweet to Tony Khan. It also seemed like Deonna Purrazzo might have been unhappy with her spot in the company. So I wonder if she was in this due to that as well. But I hated the beginning of this with the pin. They literally all watched each other pin and didn't even try to break it up. That made no sense to me. And a lot of this match just seemed like people were waiting around for their spots. Taya Valkyrie got involved a few times. Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata very stupidly brawled to the back. That took them out. And then Taya and Deonna tried to team up to take Yuka out. Harley Cameron ran down to help her. That now furthers a feud between Harley Cameron and Deonna Purrazzo. She had previously tried to challenge Mercedes, but Mercedes turned her down because she doesn't have any victories in AEW. Seems like we're going to see Deonna Purrazzo losing to Harley Cameron. But Yuka ends up getting out of an armbar, slowly pinned Deonna Purrazzo to pick up that victory. I had such higher expectations for this match, but like I said, it seemed like everyone was just waiting around for spots. And then on Dynamite, the main event, saw Mercedes Moné pick up the victory over Yuka Sakazaki to retain the championship. I was happy that this match was going to be taking place. I was happy to be seeing Yuka on Dynamite. I expected it to open the show. I did not expect this to main event the show at all. But this match, again, it seemed like there were too many choreographed spots. Like when Mercedes whipped Yuka into the ropes. Yuka, she held onto the ropes. Mercedes could see that. And she still went down for that arm drag. I didn't get that. And I feel like a lot of this match was nothing. And I was very disappointed. I had higher expectations for this match as well. I was very, very disappointed watching this main event. So that's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brandon, got any shout outs?
This is Yoda, and listening to Brandon's shout-outs you are.
The first shout-out goes to Unstoppable, starring Jarrell Jerome as the NCAA Division I champion Anthony Robles. You have Jennifer Lopez, Michael Pena, Don Cheadle, and Bobby Cannavale in that as well. If you're unfamiliar with Anthony Robles, he was born with one leg, but he went on to wrestle in high school and college. I feel like in 2011, a lot of people thought he could potentially end up in WWE. WWE, it's like as a joke, it's mentioned in this movie, kind of in passing. But I'm surprised that WWE and Anthony Robles never did anything together. I know you are familiar with Anthony Robles. Obviously, you were watching that wrestling and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that I want to check out at some point.
Yeah, so it's out on Amazon Prime. I enjoyed the movie. Back in the day, it was The Rock's production doing it. I don't know if he's still involved with it or not. I know Ben Affleck's production also did it, so I don't think $7 is part of it. But I would say check it out. My next shout out goes to Saturday Night, which was out in theaters last year. It's up on Netflix now. It's a biographical comedy drama that follows Lorne Michaels, the crew, the cast, all leading to the very first episode of Saturday Night Live. It's very chaotic, most likely greatly exaggerated about what happened, but it has a super stacked cast, and overall, I thought the movie was good. I'm very surprised it wasn't nominated for anything with the Oscars.
I'm going to have to check it out at some point.
Yeah, but check that out if you're a fan of Saturday Night Live. Like I said, it's on Netflix now. speaking of Saturday Night Live, my last shout out is going to Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 years of Saturday Night Live music. It aired on NBC and now it's streaming on Peacock. It has literally one of the greatest cold opens I've ever seen. And Questlove co-directed it with Oz Rodriguez, and it was so in-depth, and it was truly incredible. I wish there were even more artists talking about their experiences on Saturday Night Live, but it was very, very well done. Watching something like this made me really wish that we had something equivalent for WWE and all the musical performances and all the musical involvement for WWE, because I feel like in some ways WWE and Saturday Night Live kind of mirror each other.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not into this at all, if you like music, I would say 100% you would be into it. But if you don't want to watch it, I would still at least say check out the cold open. Because what I assume Questlove was able to mix everything together with that, it was like mind-blowing how everything was put together. So check that out. Those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. What do you got?
Oh, mark out moment of the week. I marked out for Fatu destroying Braun Strowman. Just flat out demolishing. And I'm marking out for the entire Royal Rumble. I'm marking out for Signs. Seeing Signs again at Monday Night Raw.
I thought you were talking about the movie for a second.
No.
Didn't you also say you marked out that Little House on the Prairie is getting a reboot?
Oh yeah, my favorite my favorite TV show growing up.
What do you mean growing up? The time. You were already grown up by the time it aired.
True, I was an adult by the time I think I was in college. Yeah. We were gathering around the TV set trying to get the antennas to just be just perfect when it came on. Good times.
You first watched it on the phonograph.
Yeah. Memories. What about you?
Honestly, not much. I don't know. I had such high hopes for that WWE 2K25 as a mark out moment, and it kind of killed my week.
Oh.
It really kind of low key ruined my week.
Ugh. Woof.
Yeah. So that is our mark out moment of the week. It's episode 730, our 14-year anniversary. Seriously, so much thanks to everybody that's ever listened to us, that's rated us, reviewed us, subscribed to us on any of the platforms. You could follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on both platforms, Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney 85, David PTDPT across all the platforms, Facebook.com/MarkinOut, YouTube and Instagram at MarkinOut11, ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut, at MarkinOut on TikTok. You could subscribe to us, like I said already, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, MarkinOut.com. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week.